Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football RPG. I'm Mike, that's Evan, and tonight we are going to preview the 2026 Dynasty Streets. We're going to be going through quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and we'll shout out a couple of tight ends. But if you are looking for a Brock Bowers, or dude, even if you're looking for a Tyler Warren, a Colston Loveland, maybe just don't in 2026. I hope you got your tight ends already, but Ivan, how do you want to? We should probably have talked about this ahead of time. How do you want to do this? Quarterbacks, and then we'll go 5-1, or do you want to go 1-5?
No, I mean, I think we should have relatively. Well, I don't know. We'll find out. I would go 5-1. Let's build a little suspense to it.
Yeah.
Well, and then maybe at the end we can shout out some guys that just missed top 5.
That sounds good. How about we do your 5? I think our top 5 is going to be pretty similar. And if we have similar guys in the same range, we can just say, like, you say you have your 5, I'll say, I have them at 3, and then we can just skip that talk later. So who is your 5 for quarterback?
Yeah, my 5 is Cade Klubnik. Probably get a lot of flack for this. The Clemson quarterback, former 5-star recruit, beat Quinn Ewers in the Texas State final back in high school. He was a 2022 class prospect. And he is listed at 6'2", 210. So, all things that you like to see. I actually highly doubt that he's really 6'2". I saw that he was just going to explain something here, Mike. All right. Like, I very much haven't watched a ton of films on these guys, going back and breaking it down. But I watch a ton of college football, as you know, during the season. So a lot of this is based off of data, and it's based off of in-game, watching them on Saturdays or whenever they're playing, because obviously sometimes they do play on other days of the week. But,
thanks for clearing that up.
Looking at him, I saw a guy that looked like he was kind of on his toes a little bit, which 100%. Caused him to lack some arm strength, pushing the ball really downfield. Of the guys, I have 17 charted, and he has the most passing attempts of the 17, just over 1,000. So, he's thrown the ball a ton in college. He is at a marquee program, which we love to see how players handle the spotlight. You look at the completion percentage, it's definitely lower than you want it to be. And then you look at what he's doing and what he's working with. Dude, this guy of the list, he has the best wide receiver group that he's working with this coming season. Like, the wide receivers make his job easy.
I think some of the Clemson wide receivers, like, they left some meat on the bones there, but yeah, you're talking about, not to give it away, but Penn State, LSU, like some other schools in those areas, like, he is a good recruit. But when we're trying to scout these guys a year ahead, you're looking for tools, room to grow, and if you drop them in the NFL right now, what would they do? I think if you dropped Cade Klubnik in the NFL right now, he is a serviceable backup, or I wrote one-word scouting profiles for each of these guys. For Cade, I wrote, what if Bryce Young didn't grease up at Alabama? Like, what if Bryce Young wasn't a magician in the pocket? Is that a quarterback you want to bet on?
Yeah, no, not really. You see some athleticism from him, definitely more than the number 4 guy on my list. So he's able to escape. He's able to, extend plays with his legs, which obviously you love to see at an NFL level. But the arm talent just isn't high enough, and size and traits, just there isn't enough of them for me to be pushing him that much higher.
Is that college football fans would be like, Cade Klubnik is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And I agree with you 100%. Can he throw outside the numbers at an NFL level over his offensive line? Maybe.
We'll find out.
But I'm a coward because I also have him at 5. But real quick, can I give you my number 6, who I wanted to put over him?
Sure.
Avery Johnson out of Kansas State. 6'3", 96. I know he's a little light in the pants, but very mobile. Inside the pocket, he is just slippery. That's probably the best way to describe him. He has wheels. He can make guys miss. If he can clean up his mechanics, which is going to be a focal point of this episode for quarterbacks, we're talking about a guy, the arm talent is extremely apparent at times. The arm refinement is lacking severely. So if we see a big step forward from Avery Johnson, like we always see these guys, he's starting as a true sophomore at K-State. He's like leading the program and was able to push Will Howard out. I know he went and won a national title somewhere else, but if he can push someone like that out who's already an NFL quarterback, you see flashes of greatness followed up by just strings of what the heck are you doing? Like missing checkdowns, overthrowing deep balls. But in close games, to talk real quick about my process for this, you dove into the film, or not the film, you talked about like what you were doing, watching them during the college football season and then looking at their data. I truly tried to push everything out of my brain from watching college football, which was hard. And as soon as you said you want to do this episode, I just threw on tape for all these guys. Avery Johnson has traits. You can teach the rest. So I would love to see him go for another year in college football, which is why I was like, he might just stick around with NIL money, develop a little bit more. I don't know if him or Arch Manning declare in 2026. Full transparent, did you include Arch in your list? Because I did not, because I expect him to go back to school.
Okay, so I didn't include Avery Johnson because I expect him to go back to school more than I expect Arch Manning to go back to school. Okay. And I pretty much expect Arch Manning to go back to school. But because he is truly eligible and because he has the Manning last name, I do have him in my top 5 here.
Okay, I'll talk about where I would have him. Spoiler alert, it's high, but so I had Klubnik at 5. Who is your number 4?
Yeah, my number 4 is Garrett Nussmeier, 2021 class prospect, coming out of high school. Obviously, he had to wait between the sensation that is JD5 at the next level. You're looking at a quarterback that I have listed at 6'2", 200.
He's not 200. I'll bet a lot of money he's not. He's going to do the Bryce Young thing.
Yep. Yeah, that would not surprise me either, Mike. But we're talking about a senior quarterback that has the anticipation. But, man, there's just some throws that on Saturday I was watching, and it was just like, why are you doing this? Like, you are a veteran by most standards, not in gameplay, but veteran in being in college and being on the practice team or practicing. And why are you making the throw? Like, that is a question. But then he turns around and he makes the next throw, and you're like, oh, that's the NFL arm that I saw earlier right there. Yep. You see the processing when everything is clicking. And that's ultimately what I'm looking for right now is on his best tape, on his best days, on his best stats, what is he looking like? And Nussmeier is the type of quarterback that I think can stick around for many years in the NFL. Now, don't hate me for saying this. No, I was going to say like a Derek Carr.
Oh, I'd be happy with Derek Carr in the late first of my fantasy drafts if you're getting the whole career. That's what I'm saying. Starting quarterback sticks around.
Yeah,
not the end of the world. I wrote my notes for Nussmeier, so I have him at number 3, but 3, 4, 5, and 6, I was sitting here like, what am I doing? I don't know how I feel. I wrote, what if Kenny Pickett and Brett Favre had a baby and didn't panic? Because he never looks like he's truly rushing things. He looks like, I've got this, which is a little bit of like, you shouldn't think that you have this. You don't have that level of an arm. He is talented. I think the zip coming off of his throws is a little more than Klubnik, which college football fans might be mad about that. But I think Nussmeier, he was a gunslinger quarterback. He was a 4-star prospect, rated as a pocket quarterback with the gunslinger tag. Like, it fits. He thinks he can make every throw on the field. And for a quarterback prospect, stealing this from the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, they're very funny and you should listen to them. If you're a quarterback, you either need to believe in God or think you are them. And I don't know which one it is, but he has a lot of trust in something because he is willing to try every throw on the field, which is why I haven't, like, you see the zips, you see the processing. There are just times where he thinks he can do something he can't, but an NFL coach should hopefully be able to get that out of him. I had him at 3. So who do you have at 3? Or do you want to hear my 4?
No, let's hear your 4, Mike.
All right. We talked about this a little bit before the show. I have Sam Leavitt at 4. 6'2", 200. But when we talk about like an NFL arm, it's like you attached an NFL arm to a tiny little frame. It's so funny because his throws over the middle of the field, his ability to fit it in tight windows, like there are throws that Sam Leavitt makes that you're like, oh my God, that was on a rope. But he wasn't the focal point of his offense because Scadaboo was there. We saw them make a title run and like they never truly leaned on his ability. I think that this year is going to be a really good opportunity for him to show I am the guy, I can do this. And because he was the high school class of 2023, there's still a lot of room for growth there. So I am willing to bet on a guy like Leavitt to take the step forward, especially when he has a wide receiver group that is a little better than some of the other ones on this list.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. This was a guy, Mike, before the show we were talking, and I was like, man, I really just want to rate him higher, but I need to see more. Like, it is going into this season, and I think he could be one of the guys that makes the biggest jump in my rankings because I currently have him 7.
Well, so here I have your rankings pulled up. Sorry to everybody at home. Would you rather bet on the true sophomore heading into his true junior season making a jump, or super senior Carson Beck, super senior Garrett Nussmeier? Like, there's a couple of guys here that like we kind of know what they are because they've stuck around college football for a little bit. And maybe they have the Bo Nix, the Jaden Daniels, the true extreme 5th and 6th year options. Tyler Shuck, apparently. But it's more likely that the 20-year-old gets better when they turn 21 than the 23-year-old gets better when they turn 24.
Yeah, sure. No, 100%. We could talk about a bunch of those guys. We'll talk about some honorable mentions once we get through our top 5 here. But moving right along, my number 3 is Drew Allar. Obviously, Penn State guy. You know, I love watching Penn State every single week. I will not be missing a game.
I thought you had him at 1. What are you doing?
Man, not at 1. But you see the size, you see the ability, you see the arm strength, and I loved the fact that this past season he started taking more shots downfield. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that Colton Nicky is being able to get that out of him in this offense. Listed at 6'5", 235. It would not surprise me if he comes in heavier than 235.
That's a big boy.
Former 5-star prospect in the 2022 class, played 39 games. Like, we love that. That's a 2-year starter at Penn State going into his 3rd year as a starter. You very well could be looking at somebody that has over 50 games played by the time he is graduating college, which teams should absolutely love. You saw a big jump in completion percentage. You see the turnovers. Where are the turnovers? He protects the football, except in the Notre Dame game. Unfortunate. It happens to the best of us. But you look at what he can do. He can shake off tackles. He can keep himself upright in the pocket. He has legs to be able to extend plays. He is not a dual threat runner. All right. Whatever anybody tells you about Drew Allar, if they tell you that he is a dual threat runner, leave. Like, just stop the conversation because that is not what he is. Mike, you might hate me for this, but I see a lot of Big Ben.
I can see it. So my one sentence scouting report, I have him at 2, and because I think he has the tools, he has the traits, and we didn't rate Arch in this. What if Josh Allen had fear? So I said this on a way early preview when we thought he was coming out in 2025. The reason that he is not a dual threat guy, one, the hips are a little tight, so the Big Ben comp does make sense. He also, for someone that is Big Ben sized and we think he's Big Ben strong, there are times where he could extend the play, and there are times where he just doesn't. And I want to know why. I want to know, in this season, does he take that step forward? And he's like, okay, I'm the senior, I'm the captain, I'm the number one guy. Like, we're doing this. Or does he continue to be, you've heard me talk about like a truck versus a trailer. Like, does he continue to kind of be a trailer quarterback where he's just along for the ride, following the running backs? If the receivers are open, I'll hit them. I want to see him be a truck. Be a truck, dude.
Receivers open.
Yeah, in Penn State.
Have you watched Penn State the last 2 seasons? Like
absolutely not.
This year is without question their best wide receiver core. Like, hands down.
No, his receivers stunk, and that's why I have him at 2. I think. Here's a fun question: how many quarterbacks could you see going in the first round
next year? 5.
Yes. Okay, so all the way up to Klubnik, you don't see, or are you saying like 5, but then like some of the guys you've rated higher fall down, other people might take a leap, things happen?
Yeah, so I'm saying 4, assuming that Arch ends up going back, even though he's in my top 5. Like, yep. I think it is the 4 guys that I have in that 1 through 5 grouping, assuming that Arch goes back, and then one of the other guys makes a leap to be able to be that back end first round that somebody ends up getting, or the very, very beginning of the second round.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5, if we're including like top 40 picks, 6 could be fun, especially with how teams dealt with the 2025 class. They were just like, I'm good. I'll be all right.
And look, Mike, I don't know how much you've looked ahead even more, and obviously it's a dangerous game, but
2027.
We look at 25, and you get very discouraged by the quarterbacks. You look at this class, you start to get excited, and you realize then 2027, there really isn't many sure things. There is one sure thing quarterback, in my opinion, in that class right now, as it currently stands. So if you start projecting ahead, essentially you're getting this quarterback class bracketed by what I expect to be 2 down quarterback classes.
Which is why we could see more guys go back to school to try and play the game of, well, like I declared in a worse class. So is it better to be Jackson Dart in 2025 or Jackson Dart in 2026? Better be Jackson Dart in 2025, brother.
We'll see. Yeah. Also, teams seem to be liking the games played out of these quarterbacks, so that they want to see more experience at the college level. They are less afraid to take quarterbacks that are a little bit older. But Mike, you already hit on your 3, right?
5 Klubnik, 4 Leavitt, 3 Nussmeier, 2 Allar.
Okay.
So Arch would be in this 1-2 range. I think what's important is we're talking about this from a dynasty fantasy football perspective. Arch has wheels, and I think his last name is going to make him be the 101 in whatever class he declares in. I think Sellers is more valuable for fantasy football.
Oh, I'm 100% right there with you.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Not bearing the lead. Mike said he didn't have Arch ranked because he very much expects him to go to 27. I had Arch at 2. What is there to not like out of the very small sample size that we've seen? The very, very small sample size that we've seen of him on the field has been incredibly promising. You've seen pretty much everything that you want to see out of somebody getting their first handful of starts. He was used in games already, which getting him in games as a very young quarterback with Quinn Ewers already there with the pedigree. Obviously, he kind of stunk it up this past season. But Arch being able to get in the game, knowing that he's at a blue blood program in Texas. But we both had the same number one. To not bury the lead, it should be LaNorris Sellers. Yep. Look, we're talking somebody that was in the 2023 class, super young. I think he's 19 right now. Was only a 3-star prospect. So you've seen the maturation. You've seen him grow up. Listed at 6'3", 242 is what I have right now.
Yep.
Only 15 games played. All right. So getting a full season under his belt this coming year is going to be incredibly important. But the very small sample size, one of the things that I want to mention, of the quarterbacks that I have scouted here, he is one of 2 on my list that has above a 50% completion under pressure percentage.
Dude, he's unflappable.
Like he will stand in there and take a middle linebacker to his chest and deliver the football.
Yep.
I love that. You start talking traits. He's got the size. He's got the speed. You look at 148 rush attempts, 6.1 yards per carry from a quarterback. Like these are fantastic numbers that South Carolina has a rather tough schedule this season. So you will definitely get to experience LaNorris Sellers going against solid defenses. You will get to be able to see what he does. Also, Mike, who has South Carolina had at wide receiver?
Dude, Nick Harbor, elite.
Yeah, sure. Nick Harbor. Okay. So LaNorris Sellers, this is the other thing.
What about Juice Wells? Juice Wells.
This is the other thing that I really like about him is he is playing with lesser talent around him, which if you're going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, most likely you will be doing that. You will be the franchise player off the rip. You will be playing with lesser talent around you, just how it works. So we've already got the college production. We've already got the college ability to be able to do that and succeed. Like, heck, LaNorris Sellers almost led them to a playoff spot last year.
For South Carolina.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers. Look, the one sentence scouting report I have for LaNorris Sellers. What if Dante Culpepper was also fast? He is, like you talked about, his throws under pressure are crazy. His ability to maneuver the pocket, I don't know if it's the Will Levis corollary or if it's the he's so confident corollary, but there were times where it appears that he does not feel the pressure. And that might be because he truly doesn't feel it, because he doesn't know it's there, but it doesn't matter because he's 242 pounds and just shrugs them off and moves on with his day. Wild to me that he was a 3-star prospect, because did you know he also played soccer in high school?
Crazy. Two-sport athlete. We love 2-sport athletes.
He was a varsity dual goalkeeper and striker. So he would take turns protecting goals, then he would take turns scoring goals. He was player of the week for his high school a couple of times for soccer. Fun fact. Just an enormous human being with a rocket of an arm who is very fast. It sounds like Anthony Richardson. It's just, what if Anthony Richardson actually had starts where he looked effective under pressure?
Sounds like Cam Newton.
He could be.
If he can develop a little bit as a passer, he could be looked at as Cam Newton. Because, look, Sellers still does have a lot of room to grow as a passer.
Absolutely.
He is a fantastic runner, and he is a below average NFL passer as he currently sits.
It's one read and go right now.
If he can be able to get to average or even just barely above average as an NFL passer, this is going to be a guy that could be elite for your fantasy team. 1,000,000%. I was trying to look up. Did you know he has
4.6% of his plays were turnover-worthy plays. His pressure to sack percentage, 19.1, which I think that's lower than Jaden Daniels. I think that's lower than Bo Nix. I think that's lower than a couple of guys that have ended up pretty okay in the NFL. And he's doing that as a true sophomore in the SEC. I love him. This is the exact kind of quarterback that I always fall in love with. And however many Anthony Richardsons I get burned by, I will find some other guys you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, some other guys to shout out. Look, I get Carson Beck left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, but he is a guy that if he is kept clean, he is a good passer. John Mateer took the college fantasy football world by storm last year. Is he going to be able to continue that at Oklahoma? Look, there's times when you put on John Mateer tape and you're like, oh, this guy throws dots. And then there's times when you're just like, how is he throwing a football? Why is he throwing a football? Like he is wildly inconsistent. What's
funny for Mateer, I don't even like. There are some mechanics issues, obviously, but 6'1", 219. Let's check his hand size. It might be. He might literally like. This isn't trying to throw shade. Like his hands might be too small for the football. I want to talk about your next guy.
Ooh, Nico?
Say his last name.
Nico Iamaleava?
Close enough. If there's one guy that makes us look dumb, I think it's Nico. I also had him outside my top 6. The traits, which is what we're looking for a year ahead, and when you're trying to evaluate what these guys could turn into. He runs like a gazelle. There are times where he's a cannon of an arm. He's 6'6", 215. Let's throw 10 more pounds on him so he doesn't look like Kevin Durant. Like, there is a world where Nico takes a big step forward.
Can he hit a deep ball, Mike?
Absolutely not right now. For someone, he can
doesn't
throw
make
it.
Any sense.
He can throw it 72 yards. His receiver ran a 10-yard out.
It'll be 10 yards away from the wide receiver, and he threw the ball 72 yards. Yep.
If he can clean that up, that would be fantastic. It's hilarious to me. I have never seen a quarterback complain about the Tennessee system. But yeah, there's a world where he turns it around and makes everybody look silly. There's a world where he completely flames out and becomes a fun anecdote to history. Any other quarterbacks you want to talk about?
No, not really. Dante Moore, I think, is going to reclassify to 27. Just don't think there's enough starting experience there. Fernando Mendoza is a good feel-good story, but I don't think he's going to be nearly high enough.
Diego Pavia.
Feel good.
Taysom Hill 3. All right.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the Goblins get you.